Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next and the first installment for the Admiral Markets Trading Spotlight webinar series. As I said, it's the first installment for 2021. Wherever you are in the world, we hope you have had a happy holiday season. We hope you're all safe and well, and we thank you for coming to join us for what will be an interesting session talking about, re-engaging with markets as we take our steps back into 2021. So what are we going to talk about today for the next 40 minutes or so? Well, we'll talk a little bit about, how do we plan for the next few weeks? How do we create a trading routine for 2021? And how do we review markets for the new year? So I'll be talking a little bit about leaning on some of my own experience, how I actually sort of conduct myself, how some of my own particular trading routines and what I particularly look at, but also just effectively giving you some insight into how all of that kind of work that you're doing can actually help you make a better trader. This is it's a new year, it's a new start. Okay, it's the first trading session of the year started this morning. It's a blank slate for everybody. Okay, and whether you've been trading for 2 weeks or 2 decades, we all start today with a blank slate, and this is an opportunity for traders, regardless of how long you've been trading, to basically set in place the kind of right routines, habits, and behaviors that will help carry you through the rest of 2021. For those who don't know me, my name's Paul. I've traded for many years now, okay? And primarily in my own trading, I look to focus on FX indices and commodities. I'm primarily a trend trader for longer term trading and a sort of mean reversion, a reversal trader on shorter intraday style trading. And here at Admiral Markets, it's a broker that provides a wide range of financial instruments that is licensed and regulated across a wide range of regulatory environments, providing competitive spreads on the most popular trading products and providing the opportunity to engage with markets using both platforms like MT4 and MT5. If you have any questions about Admiral Markets, please get in touch with your account representative and they'll be very happy to help guide you. But today we're here to talk about, welcome back to trading in 2021. And, those of you who joined us towards the end of last year, we talked about a couple of the sort of exercises and things that you could be doing to help sort of, bring 2020 to a close and then start 2021 in the right frame of mind. And we're going to build on that today. So, as the slide says, ladies and gentlemen, after a turbulent 2020, we hope you all took some time to enjoy the holiday season with family where possible. We realise that we are in strange times, ladies and gentlemen. It is important to take breaks from your trading to help you reflect, review, refresh, and recharge yourself for the next stage in your trading journey. In my last session, we talked about conducting a stock take of all the learning and the intellectual property that you had acquired during the last year. So here's a question for you as to sort of preset our discussions for today's session is, could your trading results be determined before you even switch on your computers? Think about that, traders, okay? Could your trading results be determined before you even switch on your computers? Think about that. What do you think the answer to that might be? As always, I'm always interested to hear your interaction, to hear what you think, because in this session, we'll look at how we prepare to make a great return to trading 2021, and we'll also take a look at the markets. So what do you think, traders? Could your trading results be determined before you even switch on your computers? It's something to think about, and it's something that very often new traders don't really give any concern to or any thought to. It's only those of us who've been trading for a while who realize exactly how important that can be. So Ronald says partially. That's we'll take that. Galaxy says no. Okay, and that's what we want to see. We want to see some interaction in that. Say if Rick says this, everything is predeterministic. Of course it is. That's a very smart answer. Peter says mindset plays a big part. If you believe you're not going to make any money, then you probably won't. There is an element of truth to that. James says yes, it does. So good. That's fantastic. That's there's a bit of a wide range of thoughts and opinions, and that's fantastic. That's what these series are for. It's giving you an opportunity to sort of get some insight, but also allowed to express and also allowed to basically have a little bit of interaction with other traders, which all helps, especially as we in the situations we find ourselves in at the moment. Fran just says yes, it can do. So great. We've got, as I said, wide range of opinions and thoughts there, and we're going to look into that more, because out of that will come some of the considerations that we think about in terms of how we re-engage with markets in 2021. For those of you who joined me before, I think the last session before Christmas, we talked about having a kind of like a business inventory exercise. So if you didn't get to catch that, well, that particular session will be on the Admiral Markets YouTube channel. Be sure to sort of log in there and find it and go through it. But really what we talked about was the task for your holidays was to literally sit down with a few sheets of paper and write down everything you'd learned about the 4 M's of trading in 2020, everything you'd learned about markets, methods, money, and myself. And actually, weirdly, it's only when you do exercise like that, sometimes that makes you realize exactly how far you've come in a year. Okay, when you're at it every day, you don't really always sort of kind of really truly understand and appreciate your progress. It's only when you sit down and look back and write down, it forces you to realize exactly how much you've learned, how far you've come, okay, in that particular period. And we talked about writing down all the trading ideas which have resonated with you, or write down all the trading ideas that you resisted, that you didn't like, or didn't really speak to you. And also about writing down what you believe you still have to learn about those 4 M's of trading and those kind of particular areas of weakness. It'd be interesting to know if any of you did that tasking, okay? If any of you had a go at it, and if you did, what kind of interesting revelations it may have come to, because you'd be surprised, as I said, when you actually force yourself to sit down and go through it. That's when you start to get a real fascinating insight into how far you've come, what you've learned, and also where there are particular weaknesses. And everybody has them. There's nothing wrong in that. Okay, it is part of your journey as a trader, and actually, you never stop learning. It's just part of the way we work. But what we're interested is, out of that starts to give us some ammunition, which we could use to sort of take forward in terms of re-engaging with markets in 2021. So, welcome back to trading. It's great to be back. Okay. I hope you took a bit of a break. I hope you took some time away. I certainly did, because, actually it was a very volatile year, lots of things happening, and invariably you need to take a little bit of time away to refresh yourself. But before you hurl yourself back into the battle, okay, of trading, well, let's have a little look. Let's take a little bit of time to maybe give some consideration to things we should be thinking about before, as I say, we even switch our computers on. All right. So we could think about, what are our goals for 2021 in the whole year ahead of us? What are our goals for Q1 for the next 3 months? What are your goals for January 2021? What are your goals for this week ahead? Okay, just this weekend from till the 8th on Friday, and even what are your goals for this upcoming session? Okay, where maybe you're trading the European session, maybe trading the US session, the Asian session. I appreciate we have people from all over the world who join our sessions. I'd be interested to know, what, if any, of these kind of questions traders have worked on who've been watching this. Have you actually spent a bit of time just sitting down to thinking that, or did you first thing this morning just come in, switch your computers on, and hurl yourself back into sort of trading, trying to chase a few pips in the market? Because actually spending a bit of time thinking about these questions and actually starting to sort of think about what they mean to you and where you're actually looking to go can actually help have some element of determination on your future results. There's a great military saying in the British military of that time spent on reconnaissance is rarely wasted, and that kind of applies itself to trading markets. Okay, the time you spend sort of kind of looking at what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve and where you're looking to go, and to try and find out as much as about what you about yourself, your trading style, and where you want to go is not time wasted. Okay, it particularly is actually unbelievably helpful. So Galaxy just says clearly, just Bitcoin against US dollar. Well, fair play to you. Maybe we'll have a little look at that later. Okay, it's been a rather interesting and volatile day for that, and that has been a kind of a narrative that we'll come out and touch on a little bit later. But those are questions to take a snapshot. Okay, just take a print screen of this particular slide and just challenge yourself just to answer those. Okay, answer those questions. Okay, and if you've already done element work like that, well, congratulations, give yourself a pat on the back. If you haven't, it won't take you long. Do it. But it might actually help you just work on what you're particularly looking for. So, I just very quickly, and I put a couple of quick line sort of entrances there for myself, which are part of actually much bigger much bigger kind of response, okay? But for the sake of the slide and how much time we've got here, it's just very, very quick and early. So for me, my goals for 2021 is to be a DEX trader, okay? What does that mean? That to me means to be a disciplined, effective, and consistently successful trader, okay? That's what the standard that I always hold myself to, all right? To be a DEX trader, disciplined, effective, and consistently successful. But you have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, okay, the definition of success is a very personal thing when it comes to trading, okay? And it's something you have to spend a bit of time working on what it actually means to you. But that's my goal for the whole of 2021, to be a DEX trader throughout 2021. What are my goals for Q1? Well, my sort of goal for Q1 is to generate alpha for our fund, all right, in line with the rules that I have for my rules of engagement. So I'm just looking to generate positive returns for my trading fund, okay, but making sure that that is in line with the rules that I hold myself to, okay, for my own particular trading. So making sure that I'm following my processes and that I'm being disciplined and that I'm being self-aware in how I'm operating. What are our goals for January 2021? Well, my simple goal is to deliver flawless execution in my trading method. All right, that's there's actually more to it, but in like a one-line response, to deliver flawless execution in my trading method. That is a really, really good goal for January 2021. Okay, because we've had a few weeks off. All right, we've had a few weeks off. Okay, your skills, okay, they degrade. Okay, if you've been trading every day, I guarantee if you've taken a couple of weeks off, your skills will degrade. You won't be as sharp. You won't be as fast. Okay, so you take sort of just time to focus on making sure you're doing the right things. Okay, so my goals for this week is to have my 2021 routine in place and hunt for suitable opportunities. All right, so getting my processes and routines in place, and then hunt for suitable opportunities. Maybe they'll be there today. Maybe they'll be there tomorrow. Maybe they'll be there on Friday. I don't know. I just, I trade what the market, what the market gives me. And for this upcoming session, so this will be for like the US session, okay, here on the first day, trading day of the year, to be on my routine, to manage risk and execute setups flawlessly. Okay, that's it. Simple, bosh. One line allows me to sort of achieve that. Now, maybe these are particular goals that you have for yourself. Maybe maybe it's completely new and you've never considered sort of thinking like that. Okay. What I'd also sort of make a bring to your attention is that in none of them is really any particular outcome, okay, related. They're not about how many pips or how much money or etc. How many speedboats I'm going to buy, okay. There's nothing like that. There's nothing that is really outcome orientated, okay. They're all about elements, okay, that effectively I can basically work upon, all right, and that I can basically, for the most part, actually control within my own sort of, my own habits, my own behaviors, my own working ways. Okay. So as I said, if you haven't done it, take a moment, just answer those questions for yourself. Okay. Take a little bit of time. I guarantee that it will actually help you in where you're actually looking to go with your trading. And part of this, and this links into that first question, is about, this is a good time for us to start about, making sure that you're improving your trading performance. All right. So, I said, at the start, could your trading results be sort of determined before you even switched on your computers? I genuinely believe they are. And I think part of it is about managing your performance. Okay. And your performance is your ability to plan, your ability to execute, and your ability to review. And those of you who's joined Trading Spotlight for the last 18 months or so, we've done that. It's a consistent message that we have talked about. Okay, and that invariably, regardless of what you trade, regardless of how you trade, whether you're you trade monthly charts on silver or you trade 1 minute charts on the DAX. Okay, it doesn't really particularly matter. But your ability to plan, execute, and review will have a huge impact on your ability to be consistently successful. And that's the thing. Right. It's not about being a one-hit wonder. It's not about having a good day or a good week. It is about you being able to sort of generate good, sustainable performance. And that's what you're looking to try and achieve. And being able to, to manage your performance, to plan, execute, and review has a huge impact. So if that is so simple, well, why don't people do it? Why don't people do it? Okay. Why do people ignore it? Well, in my experience from coaching lots of traders all over the world for many years, is that very often people see it as too time consuming. Okay, it's time consuming. It's not exciting. All right, I just want to flip open the charts. I want to just start, hammering the keys and start attacking the markets. Okay, and they just want to get straight into the actual buying and selling. Okay, and I can understand that, but if you're finding yourself that's what you're drawn to, you need to have a little word with yourself. All right, because actually, that is not the way to be long-term sustainably successful as a trader. And there, as it says, people see it as too time consuming, but professional traders, they see it as an investment. All right, they see it as an investment. Okay, it's as I said earlier, time spent on reconnaissance is rarely wasted, and it's true for that. Professional traders see that planning, execute, reviewing. They see it as an investment. And so, simply taking the time to focus on building that kind of performance mindset, the plan, execute, review, that could be one of your trading edges, all right? Because lots of people don't do it. And that's one of the ways you can start to step aside and start to see, incremental improvement in the way you're moving forward as a trader. So, with that in mind, on a kind of look at a big plan on a kind of, let's say, global scale, okay, on an annual scale, you're also looking about, well, how do I plan for my day? How do I prepare for my trading day? It's the first trading day of the year. How do we prepare for ourselves? Even just the simplest question about, well, what time do we start? So, I tell traders that, you should be prepared to be at your desk 30 to 60 minutes before your session opens. If you're trading the open, let's say the Frankfurt Open at 8 o'clock European time, well, then, you should be at your desk 30 to 60 minutes before that session, okay, and you'll be ready for it. And there's reasons for that. But, I have known, I've worked with clients who literally trade the DAX and would get out of bed at sort of, what would be in London be 7 o'clock. They'd get out of bed at 5 to 7, put their dressing gown on, and just to trade from their bed in their laptop. I'm not saying you can't do that, but that is not the way that a long-term sustainably successful trader will operate. Okay. It's important that you are prepared and ready for your trading day. And part of that reason is, as I said, if you want to be the dude is a character in a movie film. I think it was the 90s, The Big Lebowski, okay, who just spent his days in his pajamas and his dressing gown. If you want to be the dude, save it for the weekends. All right, save it for the weekends, ladies and gentlemen. What you do in your own time, none of my business. You knock yourself out. But when it comes to being a trader, when it comes to start being, running your trading business, you have to take it seriously. Okay, you have to take it seriously. And you need to show the market some respect. You need to show your trading some respect, and you need to show your capital some respect. The vast majority of people who come to private trading, they've had to work in other jobs, maybe 2-3 other jobs to acquire the capital that will allow them to trade markets. You need to show that capital some respect. You need to show your trading some respect. Okay, you're either an amateur with a hobby or you're a professional with a business, and you also need to show the market some respect. Okay, so you need to be there, 30 to 60 minutes before your session opens to effectively just go through, okay, to get yourself in the right space, the right frame of mindset, to be able to sort of try and see if you can get in flow with that particular market for that day. Trust me, I guarantee you will not regret sort of starting to just prepare yourself for your trading day in that particular way. So it'd be interesting to know, who does this already, ladies and gentlemen. Are those here joining us, okay, watching it live, or if you're watching this later on the YouTube channel, put it in the chat box and we'll pick it up on that. Who does this already? Who actually sets up and prepares themselves properly for their trading day, and who actually just turns up in a couple of minutes, flips open the charts and just starts trying to attack the markets? Okay, we're all adults. You can all particularly choose the way you want to do it, but having spent many years trading for myself and spent many years working with, really, really good traders and many years helping develop traders, I can assure you, okay, it's the ones who are prepared, okay, tend to be the ones that do the very best. Raisel is saying that this is really good information. That's really kind of you to say. Thank you, appreciate that. Sometimes it's not it's not always covered because it's not terribly sexy information, but I assure you it will have a big difference on the way you trade for 2021. Okay, it's one thing I can guarantee you, okay, when we do these sessions, is that you spend your time preparing for your day, getting yourself ready. That will actually have a huge impact on your overall ability to operate effectively. So what do I do? Okay, so here's a little bit of insight into some of the things that I do myself. Okay, so I'm up ready to, getting ready to sort of understand it and do it. So, part of me is I used to use things like an iPhone sleep cycle app just to make sure that I was basically awakened for my trading day. Make sure you get up, make sure you're just doing a little bit of stretching. That could even just be a little walk around the block to begin with, depending upon where you are and the time you have. Making sure that I'm hydrated. And then I consult a thing called A Winner's Bible, which is a book I read many years ago. And effectively, I created a little Bible for myself about all of the elements that, I'm kind of looking to try and achieve, not only in trading, but in my overall life. If it's a good book to read, if you do it and create it, properly, then it's all part of my preparing myself, okay, to be the best I can be. Okay, that doesn't mean I always am, okay, but I'm doing this and it's being consistent, doing it every day to help me be the best that I can. I'll also go through some of my start of the day questions. Okay, so these are questions you can take on board and you can ask yourself. Okay, there's a load of different questions there, and you don't have to ask them yourself, all of them every day. But if you do, it's a bit of a start. So you're asking questions about, are you bringing baggage to that day's trading? All right, so you're carrying over frustrations, or are you feeling pressure to make winning trades? Because that's rarely a good space to be in. But actually, even by asking yourself these questions, it starts to, you get it out of you. Okay, you get it off your shoulders. Okay, you might actually start to help you start to think, well, do you know what, maybe today isn't a great day to trade because perhaps I'm a bit distracted, perhaps I'm not really in the right frame of mind. Okay, and actually the better thing for me to do is to go and have a walk around the park, or go to the gym, or read a book, or just go and do something else, and then come back a couple of hours later, because when you're in a much better state, when you're in a much better trading state. And you can read those questions. There's lots of them there, okay, and stuff that will help you. But it's actually the one at the bottom that I particularly like as well, which is effectively, what would make my trading day a success, even if I don't make money. And that is actually a very good one, because you can trade very, very well all day, but because of the vagaries of what happens with your trades, that actually, it doesn't sort of pump up your equity curve as you wished. And that sometimes that can basically, leave people feeling a little bit disappointed, or a little bit unhappy. And invariably, that's not a particularly good place to be. All right. Once you start linking your self-worth to your P&L of your trading account, then you're on an emotional roller coaster, and that's never really a good place to be. You've got to think about, well, what could make my trading day a success, okay, regardless of the outcome of my trades. So it can be doing things like making sure you plan, making sure you put yourself in a good space, making sure you executed your plan, okay, flawlessly, making sure that you did all your records and you had a little review, okay. These are things you can do every day. They don't cost you anything. They don't take much of you other than a little bit of time. But I guarantee, okay, you do that every day, well, then you start to become a better, higher performing trader. That's what the experts are looking at. So Rachel says, I'm still struggling with my trading, but I've been willing to learn even after my failure. And this webinar on Admiral Markets helped me to understand the market more better. You're very welcome, Rachel. It's great. These sessions are here to help you, to give you a little bit of insight, okay, to cover the 4 M's of trading. So it's great to hear that you're getting some insight and help and support from these particular sessions. So once I've done those questions, well, then I'll just look at, how do I prepare for my day? So I, have a little bit of a write in my journal, which it doesn't have to be much, just might be if there's something that is bothering me. Some people will do visualizations of sessions. I've learned over the years, I'm not particularly great at visualizing sessions. What I tend to do is actually focus more on gratitude, okay, writing down sort of 20 things that I'm grateful for, okay, that helps put me in a good headspace. Listening to things like right music, okay, we'll all have different particular music, okay, you might want to listen to that, might sort of help keep you in a particular good space. I have a little exercise called a psychological fitness routine, which maybe we'll do in another session, which just basically gives me a chance to do a quick exercise to just work out where I am mentally, okay, well, what particular trading state I'm in. And it's only after I've done all that, it's only then do I actually turn on my computers, okay? So there's a lot I'm doing before I even turn on my computers, okay? There's no just like literally flipping open, going in. I am getting myself prepared and ready, okay? Because I want to be a DEX trader, disciplined, effective, consistently successful. That's what I'm actually looking to achieve. And then once that is done, I'm looking at my calendar for the upcoming news, which we'll touch on. I'm looking at, well, what was the last night's finish on the US indices? How did the sort of markets trade overnight in the Asian session? My apologies. Then I'll have a quick look at, well, do I have any particular open swing or long-term positions? Do I need to do anything? Are they still all okay? Do I need to do anything to manage them? And then I might look at things in like, what's checking the US dollar, okay, as an FX trader, I want to see what the big daddy's doing, and just checking a couple of the futures if we're waiting for a couple of the major indices to open. So all of this helps me just put myself in the right space, okay? I'm just starting to sort of, just to work, okay, on being the very best that I can be. Yomi, that's really kind of to say. Yomi says, thanks for these golden nuggets, Pauls. They are so important. And you're absolutely right. Okay. And as I said, it doesn't always get covered because it's not the sexiest of subject matter. I understand, but here we are. As I said, it's the first trading day of the year. This is a blank slate. Okay, it's an opportunity for you to sort of do the right things going forward that will help make this year your best trading year ever. And that's what my aim is. That's what the aim here of the Trading Spotlight webinar series and Admiral Markets is to actually help you, give you the tools and resources and insight that allow you to do the best you possibly can. So, one of those things we just looked at on that slide, and it is unbelievably important, and I'm always surprised at how sometimes new traders forget it, is that you need to make sure that you know when the major news announcements are coming out, okay, for that session and probably for that week as well. Okay, if you're a new trader, all right, I wouldn't expect you to analyze every bit of data. Okay, sometimes you traders, especially private traders, they can go down the rabbit hole, okay, of trying to analyze every little bit of economic news that's coming out and being able to sort of try and sort of just build a picture and a trade plan around it. But to begin with, I wouldn't necessarily expect you to analyze every bit of that data. But it is imperative that you know when that news is released, okay, as it will have an impact on markets, all right, and it's important that you know, okay. And you can find a calendar on the Admiral Markets website. If you look under the Analytics tab on the Admiral website, and there are other economic calendars you may wish to use, all right, but it is important for you to understand when that news is coming out. I don't expect you, okay, to be able to trade it. And I'm not even suggesting you do. But what you want to be able to do is to know when that news is coming out, so you can see how the market reacts to it. Okay, if you sum up news trading, all right, and in one word, it's expectations. Okay, what was the number compared to the expectations, and was there a big gap in that? And if there is a big gap, that will have an increase in volatility. Okay, but you don't need to be able to understand it or trade it, but you do need to know when it's coming out. Okay, you do need to know when it is, because that will have an impact. Okay, and if it is a piece of news that's coming out in an instrument that you're trading, so as you can see there, okay, on Thursday, January 7th, there's quite a bit of news that the Australian dollar, okay, reference, the Australians are going to be releasing their balance of trade, okay, at that'll be 30 minutes past midnight UK time, but it would be different wherever you are in the world joining us. But if you're trading an Aussie dollar position at that particular time of the night or the morning, depending upon where you are in the world, you need to be aware when that's coming out, okay? Because you need to manage your positions accordingly. That's all about being savvy. It's all about trade management. It's all about risk management, all right? And there is no excuse for not being able to use it, because there is plenty of insight. There's plenty of resources out there that can help you with that. And so, once I've gone through that pre-trading routine, well, then I conduct my analysis, okay? And primarily, I'm looking to focus personally on FX pairs, on the indices, and on commodities, okay? That's where my major focus is. I will look at cryptos, I will look at equities, okay? But I don't consider myself a specialist in those particular areas, okay? As a trader, I can look at a chart and trade what I see, but I wouldn't consider myself an expert in those at all. But they are part of my list, but not as high a priority as understanding what is going on in the FX world, and also with the indices, and then some of the major commodities, and that is all about helping me getting myself into the right routine, okay, when I conduct my analysis. That's what we're particularly looking at, okay? That's what I'm working on, and that's what puts me in the kind of right frame of mind and the right particular place when I'm actually looking to engage with markets accordingly. So before we go and switch across to the charts, let's just sum up what a few of the things we've just touched upon here there in our conclusions. So first and foremost, listen, welcome back to trading in 2021. All right, it was last year was eventful. I suspect this year is going to be eventful as well, ladies and gentlemen. And the thing is, before you hurl yourself back into trading, all right, maybe you want to answer that particular question. Could your trading results be impacted before you even switch on your computers? All right. And I believe the answer is a resounding yes. All right. And hopefully, okay, I've shown with some of the slides here why I think it's important and what you could actually do to put yourself in a better place before you get ready to stand up and trade. So as it says there, take the time to prepare your goals for the coming year. All right. So, it doesn't have to, you don't have to write a book as big as Harry Potter, one of the Harry Potter books. It can just be one sheet of paper, just answering some of those questions about your goals for the coming year. And that might be something that you work on as you go through the year. Invest the time and energy into building a successful trading routine. Okay. Remember what I was saying. Okay. It's about plan, execute, review. And part of the plan is preparing. All right. Preparing for your week, preparing for your trading day. Okay. Take your trading seriously, ladies and gentlemen. Leave being the dude for the weekend. All right. You can do what you do at the weekend is no one else's business but your own. Okay. But when you sit down to trade, you're either an amateur with a hobby or you're a professional with a business. The choice is yours, ladies and gentlemen. And as I said, as part of that, make sure you understand what news is coming out that day and that particular week. All right. You don't need to pore over every last little bit of economic data because the reality is you can't. Okay. There's just so much of it. It'll just frazzle your brain. But you do need to know when it's coming out. Okay. You do need to know what it's implied to in terms of what particular instrument is most likely to have an impact upon, because you need to plan accordingly. And then it's about building a simple analysis routine that you can follow. Now, if you remember, if those of you who've seen earlier sessions in both, the Trading Spotlight webinar series, is I went through like a kind of almost like a 10-step part of a 10-step plan of what you can do as part of a simple analysis, okay, for whenever you look up a particular chart, and it's quite simple, okay. It's not perfect, okay, but it's there to give you a kind of a framework within which you can work, which is your starting point, okay. And once you start in that and it becomes almost like automatic, well, then that just makes it easier for you to effectively start to look at what you're looking and trying to achieve and do. So as always, there's lots of analysis and education and more resources on the admiralmarkets.com website. And if you want to contact us, well, you can do email hello@admiralmarkets.com. You can find this video and all the other Trading Spotlight webinar videos on youtube.com/Admiral Markets and also at facebook.com/Admiral Markets Global. So I hope you found that useful, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that's given you a little bit of insight, okay? Hopefully that's given you some food for thought in terms of how you could create your own routine, how you could, set your own particular goals, how you could just get yourself in the right place before you even sort of switch on computers and hurl yourself back into the markets. If you bear with us for a moment, what we'll do is I'll switch across to the charts and we'll have a little quick look at what the markets are looking like, okay, at this particular moment, and give you a little bit of insight into what we can do. So just bear with us a moment. I'll switch across to the charts. So what I'm going to do before we switch into the charts is I'm just going to quickly show you, a little bit of, every weekend, okay, as part of my trading routine, I basically just do a little bit of analysis. I create myself a little matrix, okay, a little spreadsheet matrix every week that allows me to effectively understand where the strength, the trend, and the momentum are in primarily FX markets, but also indexes, okay. So it takes me a little bit, about an hour, okay, of my weekend whilst the markets are closed. But what it is, and the reason I share it for you is because actually it's part of my trading routine, okay. Even though I actually have plugins that can do it for me now, I actually still do this by hand because it's part of my routine. Okay, by doing it every weekend, it just basically it clicks me into trader mode. It clicks me into looking at markets. When I do it by hand, when I see the charts and do it, it gives me I get a better connection with markets, much more kinesthetic connection with markets. So, you can find your own way to do that. It doesn't have to be as complex as I can, but it's part of that routine. Okay, it's part of that doing all the good things before I even switch on my trading charts. Okay, it's all this. It's just putting yourself in the right space to do that. So that's the one for this week, which I do. I won't go through it, but it's just to give you a sense of, it's just part of that routine of working your way through, trying to understand, what you're doing and where you're actually going. So let's have a look at some charts there. Let's just move that. Boom. So What I actually have to help me is effectively I have profiles set up for the FX pairs. Okay, I have on a couple of my trading computers, and invariably, it's about following a simple routine. And I'm starting with the kind of the big daddy of them all, looking at this is a profile of the US dollar, and in particular, I want to have a look at the US dollar index. And hopefully this is a 4-hour chart, but hopefully you can see that I'm trying to understand. Okay, is there a trend in place? The trend in the dollar has been down and has been down for some time. And what I know from my own, as I said, my own STAM work is that effectively the dollar's been the bottom of the pile of the majors. Okay, it's been the weakest of the currencies for a while. So there has been a trend with that. Okay, and as I try and tell new traders, even if you can just understand what we're going on with the US dollar, well, that actually will give you a hint and an impact. Okay, on what the other major currencies are doing. And so from that, I can start to effectively go through, all of the other kind of, firstly, the kind of major currencies against the US dollar, and then looking at those particular currencies in turn. And if I look at here, the euro dollar here, let's just move this across. Really, I'm literally, as I've sort of said before, I'm just starting on the monthly chart. Okay, just basically trying to identify, is there a particular trends or the particular levels of support or resistance that I should be aware of, okay, that I need to work on, and just looking here on the monthly, I look at, really we can see that basically that trend there has been very positive for the euro, very negative for the dollar. Remember, we just looked at the dollars in a downtrend, and I look at here, well, Paul, you're up to this particular space here. We're kind of running into this area here. This is an area that's going to be of interest to you, Paul, because the market's going to make a decision when it gets up here, and you can see it's already there. And so, I'm just literally drawing more levels of support and resistance, just sort of identifying ranges that are of interest. Okay, we can see that last time price got to that area, it actually sort of rolled over. Well, we'll just look and see what the price action is like here around about that kind of 123 area. Okay, so I'll just be aware of that is still an uptrend, but we are also at an area where there might be there's a decision point coming. And if I go down to the daily chart, well, you can see really it's been a lovely trend for 2 months. Okay, it's been up, but for the last couple of months it has just been in a continued uptrend, and that's just showing me euro strength, US dollar weakness. Okay, that's what I'm sort of just trying to get an understanding of. And on my analysis chart, I would be updating that just to basically to make sure and it's confirming. So where possible, as I said, for my longer term trades, I'm actually looking to sort of trade with the trend, but also I'm equally want to be aware of particular areas where there is a decision point. Okay, and I would suggest that here at the moment we're at a little bit of an area of decision point. Okay, with the euro dollar, and so I'll be watching. This will be on my watch list. Sort of keen, have a little look at what it actually shows and offers. If we look at a couple of the other sort of major dollar pairs here, so look at here's the dollar Swiss franc. Let me just move some of these pieces out of the way so we can see what we're doing. Well, you can see yourself there, ladies and gentlemen, right? Okay, this is the dollar. This is the monthly chart on the US dollar against the Swiss franc. And you can see for the last year, that is just confirming, all right, just reconfirming what we saw in the dollar index chart and the euro dollar chart, that the dollar's weak against all the other major currencies. And so, with that in mind, I'm just looking at that, and we can see that actually, that's the weekly chart now. It's beneath its moving averages. Okay, it's clearly in a strong downtrend. And actually, we started this week with actually trying to push to new lows. All right, so. What you're particularly looking at, if I go into the daily chart, is we're looking at that, and once again you can see for these last 2 months this has been in a particular downtrend. Okay, so for me, I prefer trading pullbacks and trends, so I'd be waiting to see for a particular pullback before I'd be interested in shorting again if the picture was to confirm that. If we have a look at the pound against the dollar, okay, now the pound against the dollar has been kind of interesting in the sense that, on one hand, you can see already that the dollar's been weak, but on the other hand, sterling has had, lots of challenges over the last few months because of the sort of Brexit negotiations. And once again, if I'm looking at the monthly chart, after really crashing down to that kind of 120 level right at the start during the COVID crash, it has grafted its way up there. Okay, it's not been terribly pretty at times, but we can see there. Okay, you can see in the weekly chart, it has actually for the most part just been grinding its way north. And if we look at the daily chart, that's December. December was very ugly. Okay, if you look on the daily chart, why was that? Well, because there were Brexit negotiations were in their final piece. There was an awful lot of to and fro, an awful lot of shenanigans between the sort of two negotiating parties, and so of course that volatility made big differences on the sterling pairs and the euro pairs as we look. But as we start this particular year, we're still pushing up, and we've actually pushed to kind of a new high there around about 130.37, and it's still continuing. There still is an uptrend there in place, okay, and that's what you'll be looking at. Even after all the kind of the sort of grimacing of December, there is still an uptrend in place, okay, and so I've been making a note of that. We've had the dollar Swiss franc, okay, is in a trend. The euro against the dollar is in a trend. The pound against dollar has been in a trend. And for those of you who do, sort of kind of look at your charts very, who are aware of the kind of, let's say, the flows, what we'll recognize and know is that this is the Australian against the US dollar. This is the monthly chart, and a bit like cable. We saw the drop down at the start of last year, and then you can see for yourself it's just been a very strong trend. And you can link this to actually the price of copper. If you look at commodities as well, you could link it to that. If you look at the copper chart, you'll see it's very, very similar to this Aussie dollar chart. And this is the weekly chart, and you can see for yourself it actually has been, despite a little bit of a grimace there, okay, sort of September, October in the kind of run up to the US elections. You can see for yourself that strong trend has continued, and it's been pushing its way north there. And you can see for yourself, I mean, that has just been a lovely trend there, hasn't it, for the last 2 months there, okay, sort of November and December. That has literally been a case of Aussie strength, dollar weakness. And those of you who follow that kind of strength and weakness matrix within FX markets will know that the Australian dollar has been very, very strong. The US dollar has been very, very weak, okay, and that's what we're always looking to do. We want to be buying strength and selling weakness when it's clearly out there, and we can see that that's happening. And even though we're pushing to kind of new highs, you can see for yourself that trend is still in place, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? You still want to see that. There's yes, there has been a little bit of some wicks there, but it's not really a reversal pattern there at the moment. The trend is still in place, and so you're seeing there. The dollar index is weak. The euro dollar's in an uptrend. Dollar Swiss franc's in a downtrend. Pound against dollar is in an uptrend. Aussie against US dollar is in an uptrend. Okay, this trend has been here for a nice couple of months now, and effectively, you'd be looking to sort of just build that into your plan. Even the dollar yen, which is not one of my particularly favorite currencies, okay, but even that you can see here on the monthly chart, it's just grinding its way down there. Okay, if we look down at the weekly chart, you can see there for the last 6 months or so that has just been grinding its way down. That is just representing dollar weakness, yen strength. Okay, and now as I said, I do my matrix, and I do the sort of the top eight of the major currencies. The yen has been number 7 out of 8, with the dollar firmly in the bottom of the pile. But even with that, okay, it's still showing us that there's yen strength compared to the US dollar, and that's just a reflection of how weak the US dollar has been, and that's what you're seeing even on the daily chart. As I said, it's not one of my particularly favorite currencies to trade. Okay, it's a huge currency. It's a really important one. It doesn't. I don't. There are other currencies I personally prefer to trade. But, and there will be other traders here joining me from all over the world who will have a different view from mine. They will love trading US dollar against Japanese yen, and that's absolutely fine. That's what makes a market. That's what makes us traders. But, once again, it's that the last few months we've seen, okay, that real picture of dollar weakness, Japanese yen strength. So, and then the others are, we've got dollar against Canadian dollar and the Kiwi against the US dollar. Okay, but we're unfortunately running out a little bit of time. So, but the story is very, very similar there, and that's what I would be hoping that you'd be doing. Okay, is just actually taking a bit of time to effectively start with the US dollar. Okay, if you're an FX trader, then go through the other currencies and just start to have an understanding. Okay, where the strength is, where the weakness is, where are the nice trends. Okay, especially on the kind of longer term. And actually, are there opportunities for you to get on board those particular trends? And if you want to understand that better, well, then you will find a huge element of resources, materials on the Trading Spotlight webinar series in the YouTube channel that give you all sorts of ideas on basically how to sort of trade with trends, how to join trends. Okay, what you can use in terms of price action, etc., to basically to help you join an existing trend. Opera says, "What's your favorite pair?" Well, certainly it kind of shorter term trading, I like to trade the kind of the sterling pairs. Again, in particular, we'll trade pound against dollar. It's not necessarily my favorite pair to trade, but I trade an awful lot of euro against the sterling there. Okay, because of my basically my life split between Europe and the UK. So I'm very, very sensitive to the euro against the sterling. So I kind of keep a really close eye on it. Okay, but even I didn't really trade it at all last month, because if you look at the chart, it was just a terribly messy chart, because it was the euro sterling. It was the end of the Brexit negotiations, and the kind of shenanigans that were going on just meant it was pretty much untradeable, other than for very sort of short-term trading opportunities. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you found that useful. I hope it's given you some great sort of insight and some food for thought about how you could, set yourself right, upright and proper for this new trading year. As always, I wish you the very best of success in your trading endeavors. I hope you have a fantastic trading week, trading month, trading quarter, trading year, and I look forward to having you join us for more of the Trading Spotlight webinar throughout the upcoming year. As always, trade well, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers.